What up, guys? Logan here. In this video, we're going to be talking about removing mucoid plaque. So first and foremost, remember your digestive tract goes from your mouth to your anus, right? So when you start chewing food, the digestive process begins. That food goes down your esophagus into your stomach. Your stomach has acid. It starts breaking down the food. You also have the gallbladder that secretes bile, and that helps with digestion. Food goes into the small intestines, and then eventually it goes to the large intestine where it's released by your anus. Um, all of this is one long tract, right? From your mouth to your butt. And it's really important to keep this tract as clear as possible, because what ends up happening is from the food we eat, the inflammation in our bodies, the now lack of fasting that most people live in a perpetual state of eating every day, eating 3, 4, 5 meals, and constantly bombarding the digestive system with more things that it needs to digest. And what ends up happening is the body can't handle it. It's not used to this. If you go back to the ancestral ways, you look back how our ancestors lived, they would have periods of some form of starvation in the form of fasting, which would get them more dialed in to hunt, to forage, to find things. Now we are living in comfort, and it's not normal because our genes aren't wired for it, right? So whenever you can walk into a grocery store and grab whatever you want, it's not that it's necessarily bad, but it will overwhelm the digestive tract, and it's not how our bodies are wired. And so we got to do what we can to clean this stuff out. So what ends up happening? Mucoid plaque will form, and mucoid plaque, if you've seen the pictures I've shown before, it can be all different types of substances. I'm going to put documents below so that you can look. But what we're going to be doing, we're going to be cleaning the mucoid plaque out of our colon through an enzymatic process. So the company that I recommend to do this is called the Zen Cleanse. There are yogis and all these different people out there that have cleansed mucoid plaque from their body, and some of them it takes a very long time. I'm under the impression that speed is our friend. So I think the enzymes from this company called Zen Cleanse is the best option to get mucoid plaque out. How does mucoid plaque form? There's a lot of skepticism in the Western world, especially. A lot of skeptics say that it's not seen during scopes. So when people do colostomy, not a colostomy, colonoscopy, stick a camera up the ass and view the large intestine, they're not seeing the plaque. A lot of people, the anti-skeptics, say that it's mostly in the small intestine where the mucoid plaque occurs. And then you have the skeptics again saying that when someone does a scope through a camera, which is pretty rare, a camera that someone swallows and looks at everything, they don't see it. And so from the research I've done and my own anecdotal experience, I've come to realize that I believe that the small intestine, so you can imagine it being a lining of two sides, right? It's like a tube like this. Your body gets overwhelmed and there's a lot of inflammation. And so what the intestine starts doing is it will start to secrete mucus on the layer, and that mucus will start to build. And if the inflammation isn't removed, the mucus will start to harden. And so when people go through with cameras, it looks like the intestinal tract, but there's a layer of sludge there that's not getting removed, right? And so what will happen is you take these enzymes from Zen Cleanse using the intestinal 1, that's the current product that they have, and it will pull this sludge out for you. Another thing skeptics will say is that when you take the product is what you're seeing. And I've seen a lot of different photos of what the product looks like versus what mucoid plaque looks like. And so the product looks like a jelly. I've had the jelly come out of me, and I know exactly what it looks like compared to the mucoid plaque. The other thing, too, is when you smell the mucoid plaque, it is the foulest, most dead smell ever. It smells like death. It smells like it's been in there for a long time. So that's the other way that I know that this is real stuff. And the other thing here is the feeling. Okay, so when this stuff comes out of you and you actually see it, that's when you're gonna be like, oh, okay, this stuff exists. And also, I've had people who have done several of these cleanses, and when you first do it, you'll usually see a lot of mucoid plaque, and then if you do it consecutively, it'll just decrease in the amount you see, which is indicative of you cleaning the colon properly. So, all skepticism aside, this stuff works. I'm gonna post documents below of both the instructions and also the instruction manual to view the different types of plaque. There can be tons of different types of plaque depending on what kind of I'll call it digestive ailments are going on. So for me and another friend, we had very rubbery plaque come out. Two of our other friends had very wet, damp looking plaque. In ancient Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, dampness, wetness can be associated with certain kinds of disease. And fire can be associated with certain kinds of disease. We won't dive too deep into that because it gets very complicated. But you can tell based off of the plaque that comes out, kind of where your body's at and what it needs more of. So without further ado, I encourage you to order this. I think right now it costs around $250. It's from a Taiwanese company. They do things a little bit differently. I usually pay with PayPal. That's usually the best option. They also have a payment processor. It will convert your order from USD to NTD, new Taiwanese dollar, I believe. So just be wary of that. It does seem like kind of a weird process. It'll change the order from $250 to like 9,000 depending on what the currency is. Don't worry about that. Just make sure it's in NTD and not USD, and you'll be good. And their shipping is incredible. I was living in Colombia when I first did it, and they shipped to me Colombia has very difficult customs to get stuff through. I would get it in like a week. So that should cover it. If you guys have any questions, of course, post in the group. And yeah, happy cleansing with this. This is going to be, for a lot of you, it can be emotional. I highly recommend following all of the instructions. They put together a whole entire PDF, which will be posted below. Go through it completely, read everything. Make sure you follow the diet recommendations. You don't want to be eating super heavy meals before this. There are additional cleanses, not necessarily cleanses, but there's fasting, like juice fasting and broth fasting that you can do throughout this process. My buddy Josh has something called a 5-day resurrection. So if you guys want to go to the next level, message me and I can send you this and I can give you instructions. But just doing this can be, for some people, a lot of not necessarily work, but it can be emotional, and it can take up a whole day. Do not be working when you do this. Don't have a bunch of stuff planned. You're gonna need to go to the toilet quite a bit. And if you do want to see the kind of monsters that come out of you, I highly recommend buying some medical grade gloves and a colander so that you can poo into the colander and see what comes out of you. This isn't necessarily the a thing that a lot of people want to do, but I think it's important to see what actually comes out of you, so you can kind of look at it and realize that that was in you. It's important for the healing process for some people. So enough talking about poo. I will leave you with that. And if you feel called to it, post in the group your results, because this stuff is crazy. Later.